Namaskar students and welcome. If you like our videos, then do give a like and write a nice comment because your comments motivate us to do better. Share it with your friends and family members and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get all the notifications. Children, in this video, we are going to see the question answers of Standard 7 Science, Lesson number 4, Nutrition in Living Organisms. Keep loving and supporting our channel. Let's begin. Question number 1, classify according to food type. See, what we have done is we have classified all these organisms according to their food eating habits. We have classified some under the herbivores category because they are eating grass. Some we have classified under the carnivores category because they are eating flesh, blood, something which comes from animals. Some are classified under omnivores, some are classified under scavengers and some under decomposers. See, cow, deer, goat, sparrow, buffalo, they all are eating only plants and grass. So they are herbivores. Tiger, lion, frog, tick, even tick, the one which sits on our hair. Those are also considered as carnivores because they are getting their food from animals. Humans and cockroaches are omnivores because humans are eating vegetarian and non-vegetarian both food, and cockroaches can literally eat anything they eat. Vulture is a scavenger, it is feeding on dead animals, and bacteria and fungus are decomposers. They decompose the dead plants and animals. Next one, question number 2, match the pairs. Parasitic plant, Cuscuta is a parasitic plant. Those are yellow wire-like structures. And those yellow wire-like structures do not have leaves. So they are parasitic plants because they will depend on others for their food. Insectivorous plants, Drosera. Those are eating insects, Drosera burmani. We saw in the lesson. Saprophytic plant, mushroom. Mushroom is a saprophyte, and symbiotic plant, lichen. Saprophytic means it is depending on the dead plants and animals, dead living beings. So it is saprophytic. Next question, answer the following questions in your own words. Why do living organisms need nutrition? Why the living beings need nutrition? This answer is very much given on the first page of your textbook, children. You can see the yellow box. It is going to be almost the same. Let's see this answer now. Let's see our answer. Living organisms need nutrition to supply the energy required for doing work. Same point in your textbook. For growth and development of the body. To replace the damaged cells and repair tissues, to fight diseases. So see children, living organisms need nutrition to supply energy for doing work. We want energy, so we require nutrition for energy, for getting energy, for growth and development. To replace the damaged cells and repair tissues. If we are getting hurt somewhere, then there is some repairing required. Then those cells are automatically repaired because of the food, because of the nutrition we are getting from the food, and to fight diseases. Now the next question, explain the process of production of food in plants. See, plants produce their own food with the help of. How are plants producing their own food? With the help of sunlight from the sun, chlorophyll from leaves, water and nutrients from soil, carbon dioxide from air. This process is called photosynthesis. It takes place in leaves. Yes, these are the 4 things required by any plant for preparing its food. See the chemical reaction, 6CO2 plus 6H2O in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives C6H12O6 plus 6O2, which means food and oxygen is given out. Just remember this reaction as of now. In the higher classes also, you are going to get the same reaction. It will be explained in detail. Next question. What is meant by parasitic plants? Name their different types with examples. Those plants who depend on other plants for their food and living are called parasitic plants who depend on other plants. Parasitic plants are also called heterotrophic plants. It's given in the textbook, children. Parasitic plants are of two types. First one, partial parasites, example Loranthus. See, Loranthus is a partial parasite. These plants have green leaves for producing food but take nutrients and water from the host plant. Means they have green leaves but they will take the water and nutrients from the food from the other plant. Total parasites, example Cuscuta. These plants don't have leaves and are totally dependent on host plant for everything. Yes, they will depend on host plant for everything. They are total parasites. So parasitic plants are of two types, total parasites and partial parasites. So this is done, children. Next question. Explain the various steps of nutrition in animals. This answer is also very much given in your textbook, children. Most of the answers are already given in the textbook. We just have to frame them properly. So let's see the answer that is also given in the yellow box in your textbook. Okay, see the answer. Same children. We have taken the same answer as it is from the textbook. See the first point. Ingestion. Food is taken into the body. Digestion means when you eat the food. Ingestion. Digestion. Conversion of food into simple soluble forms. When the food is digested into the stomach. Absorption. Transfer of soluble food to the blood. Means after the digestion, food is converted into nutrients. And after that, those nutrients are absorbed into the blood. That is absorption. Assimilation. Utilization of absorbed food by cells and tissues. Then the nutrients which are going into the blood. From the blood, those nutrients are given to all parts of the body. Means assimilation. Assimilation means when the nutrients go into the blood and those nutrients of the blood are given to all parts of the body. That is called as assimilation. For energy production, growth and repair. Yes, for getting energy, for producing energy, for growth and repair of the cells. Last one, egestion. Removal of waste products and undigested food from the body. It's also very important, children. Removing the waste from our body is extremely essential. Because then if we do not remove the waste, then our body is going to collect all the poisonous, all the toxic material. So it's very important that we remove those waste materials from the body. Next question. Name some unicellular organisms in which all life processes take place within their unicellular body. Amoeba, Euglena, Paramecium. This was simple answer and very small. Next one, give reason. Insectivorous plants are attractively colored. Why are they attractively colored? Why they have beautiful colors? We know the reason, but let's see how we write it in the answer. Okay, see, this is the answer, children. Insectivorous plants grow in soil deficient in nitrogen. So the insectivorous plants are growing in the soil where there is less nitrogen. So how they will get nitrogen? How they will make protein? So they eat insects to fulfill the deficiency of nitrogen. So to fulfill the deficiency of nitrogen, so to get nitrogen, they are eating insects. Insects are their food. And for attracting insects food, they are very attractively colored. Yes, they are beautifully colored because they have to attract the insects. How they will eat food if insects are not coming to them? So they are attractively colored. Let's see the next question. Butterflies have a long tube-like proboscis. Why they have a long tube-like proboscis? Every living being has a mouth made according to its food. Yes, everybody's mouth is made according to its own food eating habits. Butterfly's food is the nectar of the flower. What is butterfly eating? The nectar of the flower. That is the food for the butterfly. So butterfly has a long tube-like proboscis to suck the nectar. To suck the nectar, to eat the nectar, it is having tube-like structure. It will suck the nectar because that is its food. So it is having long tube-like proboscis to eat its food, which is the nectar of the flower. Okay, next question. Prepare and complete the flow chart according to the type of nutrition. That is given in your textbook. Let's see how we have written that. See children, you can make the table in a similar format. See children, nutrition in plants, autotrophic, heterotrophic, symbiotic. Under the animals, the type of nutrition is holozoic, saprozoic and parasitic. Again in heterotrophic, insectivorous and saprophytic plants. In heterotrophic plants, there are plants who eat insects and there are plants who depend on dead plants and animals, dead living beings. Those are saprophytic. Now under the parasitic animals, we have ectoparasites, endoparasites. Those who live inside the body and those who live outside the body. Okay, next question. Think and answer. Let's see, we'll maximize a little bit so we see better. We prepare a variety of foodstuffs and dishes at home. Are we then autotrophic organisms? Are we autotrophic if we are making our own food? We prepare a variety of foodstuffs by using grains, pulses, vegetables, meat, etc. Yes, we use the food grains, we use the pulses, vegetables, we eat the fruits, meat. So, these things are given to us by plants and animals. Yes, from where we are getting all these things? From plants and animals. So we don't produce our own food and we are not autotrophic organisms. Yes, we don't prepare our own food. We take food which is made by the plants. So we are heterotrophic. We are not autotrophic. So let's see the next question now. Which organisms are greater in number? Autotrophs or heterotrophs? The autotrophs, green plants, are more in number because they are a food for all living beings. Yes, plants are eaten by all living beings directly or indirectly. Herbivores like the deer and the rabbit are directly going to depend on plants. But what about lion, tiger, leopard? They depend on these animals who eat the plants. If these animals are not there, then even the lion, tiger won't be there. So all the living things depend on plants directly or indirectly. The autotrophs provide oxygen to all living beings. Yes, the plants are also giving oxygen to all, to everybody, whether it's herbivore, carnivore, anybody. They are giving oxygen to all of them. So they have to take care of all the living things on the earth, all. Very essential for all. Children, oxygen is very essential for all. So autotrophs are always more in number to balance the food chain. So they are more in number. Next question. The number of heterotrophs found in desert regions is smaller. However, they are found in greater number in the sea. Why is this so? Let's see the answer, children. Let's see the answer here. In desert region, the animals are less. Heterotrophs means animals. The animals are less in desert region. In desert region, there is scarcity of water, and so the number of autotrophs are less. Okay, and because there are less autotrophs, the heterotrophs are also less. But in sea there is a lot of water, and so the number of autotrophs are more. So where there is less water, plants are less, and when the plants are less, animals are less. And where the plants are more, where there is more water, there are more plants. And when there are more plants, there will be more animals. Simple logic. And because of more autotrophs, there are more heterotrophs. Same 4 points, children. Easy answer. We can understand it very easily. What damage or harm? Next question. What damage or harm do ectoparasites and endoparasite animals cause? Ectoparasitic animals live or sit on body surface of other animals. Ectoparasite sit on the body, live on the body, and obtain food by sucking their blood. Yes, for example, mosquito, for example, bedbug. There are many other living organisms which we cannot see, but they are doing something or the other from outside. While sucking blood, they might inject germs inside our body. Yes. If you don't take a bath, children, for a few days, you will get skin infections because of the ectoparasites who live on our body. That is why we are always taking a bath every day, because those ectoparasites, then they will cause fungal infection on our skin. Or if the mosquito is biting us, sometimes we get dengue, malaria, because they are injecting, they are putting the germs in our body. So this is not good for us, harmful for us. Endoparasitic animals live inside the body of other animals and obtain their food. Endoparasites live inside the body. Their increased growth will take away all the nutrition from our body. Yes. When they take all the nutrition and food, what we will get? We will die because of malnutrition then. So they are harmful for us, children. If they are not allowing us to take our own food, if they are eating all of our food, it's not good. Next question. Why is plant food not produced in any other part of the plant except the green ones? Why the food is produced only in green part? Why not anywhere else? Plants can prepare its food only in presence of chlorophyll, which is present in green parts of the plant. Yes, chlorophyll is present only in green parts of the plant. Absence of chlorophyll, absence of green color means absence of chlorophyll. If there is no green color, then the chlorophyll is also not there. So non-green parts do not produce food. Only green plants do. Only green parts do. Yes, because of chlorophyll, only green parts are making their food. Other parts don't. Non-green parts don't. Thank you for watching till the end.